So, Ms. Lamis, wonderful to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you.
How's your day going?
Good.
Good. Now, Ms. Lamis, maybe for some of our people who don't know, you're our instructional coach here at ALS. Coaching is just one of these terms, like it's become a buzz term, like there's instructional coaching, personal coaching, exercise coaching. We're all drowning in coaches.
Yes, indeed.
What does it mean, really?
Okay, let me talk about my expertise, which is basically instructional coaching. It's not just coaching. So coaching, instructional coaching, is walking through with the teachers in the teaching process. It's more like a thought partner. So you don't need to know it all. You need to co-plan with the teacher, co-think, listen, ask the right questions, and support. Giving the teacher a space for growth is basically supporting them and offering them what they need in order to reach their goal.
Mm-hmm. And that's a wonderful explanation. I mean, nobody's going to be against that at all. Lamis, working with teachers, it's always a privilege, it's always an honor to work very, very closely with them. Can you just tell me a little bit about that journey, how you work with teachers, how you work with administrators in your coaching capacity?
Yes, basically one of the misunderstandings about instructional coaching is that it's only for teachers. Actually, it's for the whole team. Instructional coaching role is a bridge between teachers and administration. When we are working with teachers, we work upon a shared purpose and we align it with the school goals. That should be a goal starting from the admin, going through the teachers and seeing the fruit and the students' performance. So it's basically one team with different lenses.
And I know we've talked about this many times, and I know we'll talk about it just maybe for the benefit of the listeners or the audience here right now. When we're in a school, I always think that professional growth or professional appraisal, it's not just in schools, but in any profession. You're trying to do two things with the same tool. You're trying to grow a professional, but you're also trying to make sure that they're accountable and compliant and doing the job and doing the basics well, and then trying to get them to grow too.
Yeah.
So coaching is kind of interesting in that regard as well, because there is an element here too about mentoring and coaching. So if you could maybe talk a little bit about what are the miscommunications or misconceptions when it comes to coaching.
Oh yes, okay. The misconceptions that come to instructional coaching is that I'm an evaluator. No, I'm not. I'm not an evaluator, and that's what makes my role different than administrative role. So no, I'm not in an administrative role. I'm still a teacher. I still stand in the classroom. That's why I understand more teachers in their classrooms. My role is to bridge in different dimensions between the teachers, the leads, and the administration, and also between different teachers in different grade levels.
Question here too, at ALS, we're doing a lot, but we need to do more. Nobody ever sits still, making sure that people are growing as professionals, not just teachers, but even our non-teaching staff as well. So maybe if you could kind of talk a little bit about coaching, how it's different from the evaluation. I know you mentioned that a little bit, but how it's also different from professional development too.
Okay, usually professional development as a basic understanding in all schools is reflected in workshops. Now workshops, regardless of their timeline, workshops are mainly informative and a one-size-fits-all. Instructional coaching is different. Instructional coaching is personalized, it's an ongoing process, it's tailored for the specific teacher, the specific classroom, and sometimes for specific students through the teacher. So the difference between instructional coaching and a workshop is that coaching really looks into growth in real time and in real classrooms.
No, I really like that. There's a real transformative element to coaching when it's done well, and that trust, as you said, I really liked what you said earlier, that a teacher, a person has to be open to it as well. That's really important. We've talked about this as a school in many ways. It's about building trust, both a professional trust and a personal trust. In your coaching role, trust must be very, very important. How do you build that?
When I enter a space, because usually I'm invited into either a common space or the classroom itself. When I enter the teacher space, which is the classroom, I try my best to enter with humbleness, with curiosity, and most importantly, be secrecy. I follow the teacher's lead in what they want. I respect their boundaries and thus maintain and build the trust.
I think that's very, very important for people to be aware. I mean, we meet maybe a couple of times a month, but that's really kind of planning out the program, particularly for our new teachers into the school, having an onboarding, because we never discuss coaching as well. We discuss the capacity and time, but never individuals as well, and long may that continue. I mean, I've done some coaching myself as well and worked in schools with instructional coaching, so I'm a fan of it and really admire the work that you do here as well. Lamis, the other thing too is we're a developing school, we're a growing school. You know, there was a statistic that we've used, the school has doubled size in 2 years, and that's phenomenal, but that brings challenges and stresses. Also, we've introduced a layer of middle management or middle leadership now with grade levels, which have been around in the primary school for a while, with subject leads in the girls and boys secondary. Just wondering, when you look at that, how you can build that collaboration or that contribution between departments and grade levels as well. And could you give me an example of how you've done that, or how you've worked with teachers on that?
Okay, so as we said before, instructional coaching is a connector and a bridge, and it works in different dimensions. Not only between teachers and admin, but also between the teachers' team itself, whether we have grade level leaders, subject team leaders, or even teachers themselves. It's a connection between them. What usually happens is that if I have a case, if I'm supporting a teacher in PYP for student engagement, and I'm doing the same for a DP teacher, my role is to bring these two voices together so that they can co-think, they can co-plan, and they can share. And one of the impactful examples that we started doing last year, and fortunately we are continuing to do it this year, is the last sessions. And the last here is an abbreviation for learning and sharing together. It is a session or a bunch of sessions that are led by teachers, where teachers share their practices with another teachers. So we started that last year, it was very successful, and it's going also to continue this year. It's starting with us next month.
And that's a wonderful cultures of thinking approach as well, which understands cultures of thinking which we're adapting in a school as well. Now, we're talking as if everything is perfect, it's a blue sky, sunshine every day, but look, every job has challenges, every role has challenges. And as an instructional coach, what are the challenges you have to face?
One of the biggest challenges is time. Both mine and the teacher's time. We are already juggling so much around, we have a lot on our plate. Deep reflection and planning needs time. So this is one of the biggest challenges. Another challenge is, I mentioned it before, being misunderstood, thinking that I'm an evaluator, or a person who only supports teachers who are struggling. This is also a misunderstanding or a myth about instructional coaching. Also, one challenge that I can name is building trust. As you mentioned before, ALS is a growing school, and when a school is growing, then teams are growing, and expectations are growing, and new things are falling. With all of these new things, building trust is challenging. But how do I navigate them? I believe in the long game. Patience, listening, trusting the process.
No, that's very well said. I think with instructional coaches, it's not just a case of, oh, we're a school with instructional coaches. It's the idea that we have a culture of instructional coaching, and there's a very different approach to those things as well. And any culture takes time to develop that as well.
Yes.
Now, ultimately, anything we do, our big word this year is impact. You know, we can all be busy, no question, but what is the impact? What is the outcome of what we're doing? And there's a PLC, professional learning community approach about impact. The only impact that really matters is student learning. So what's the outcome when student learning as an instructional coach?
That's a very good question, because we like to give practical examples that are happening that really resonates with the profession itself of teaching, because we're here to support this. It's a chain effect. When you see a teacher who's trying a new thing and is supported, this reflects on their students. And when the student takes this in, they give it back. If they give it back, the teacher tweaks it, makes some changes, and give it back again and suddenly see a change, whether a quiet student who is now engaging or a content that suddenly clicks in, this is exactly what we're looking for. This is the difference that we are looking for, the ripple effect.
I know there's a lot of talk at the moment about adaptive learning and AI with adaptive learning, but there's also the whole work of Peter Senge around schools that learn, not individuals or teachers or students, but schools as an organization that learns. And then the whole idea of adaptive schools, not just adaptive learning or adaptive approaches. So that's kind of interesting as well to look at that. I liked what you said about innovation. Not to be afraid to try something new, because otherwise we get stuck in a pattern as well, and we should be looking to evolve as professionals. Ms. Lamis, as an instructional coach, what do you think, if there was one thing that you said that would make instructional coaching in any school more successful, what would that be?
Growth mindset, definitely. It needs the growth mindset. It's the root of instructional coaching. From all aspects of the school structure.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one with the whole work of Carl Dweck about fixed and growth mindset as well. And I think as educators, we lean automatically towards growth mindset because we have to. That's where the hope is, and that's where the success is as well. Ms. Lamis, it's something that we've reflected on here, and we've talked about it a lot, and I talk about it with colleagues in other schools. Every now and again we feel that teaching schools are undergoing a paradigm shift. We've heard this going all the way back to the internet. We heard that COVID was going to change how schools run. More often than not it changes a little bit, but it's more or less the same. Right now there's major things going on with the whole world of AI and adaptive learning in schools. Also the well-being crisis that maybe young people are facing, maybe with the whole idea of resilience and intrinsic motivation. I'm just wondering, as an instructional coach, what are your thoughts on that, and how instructional coach can maybe help us all in a school setting?
The role of instructional coaching is to understand by every stance how is teaching changing. I think nowadays teaching is much more difficult than before. We're going through many challenges, and we have now the AI. Like the AI now teaches with us. But a smart thing to do is to know how to navigate this. And an instructional coach in this role supports the teacher and walk through these kinds of practices. Maybe sometimes they are challenges, and other times they are beneficial practices. The most important thing in this whole process is for all of us as instructional coaches or as teachers to stay patient, to stay reflective, and open.
Open, yeah, that's a good one. Open is always a good one, because learning will not happen if you're closed off. Well, thank you so much for that detailed answer. I always say there's one guarantee in life, and it's change. And we talked about the profession of teaching in schools as an institution changing. ALS is not immune to that change. How long have you been at ALS?
This is my 7th year.
And you've seen a lot of change in those years.
Oh my God, yeah, big time. Yes, indeed. I came here, there was one section of every grade, and now we're looking at the 3 sections of every grade. So yeah, and looking at the students' lens, it's getting really big. The community also of teachers, we're getting really a big family. We are a big team now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So definitely growth. And with growth though, there are certain things as a school we don't want to lose. And we talked about our values, and now that it's our 20th anniversary year, we want to honor the legacy of the past, but honor the future as well, about where we'll be, with intent that we're going that direction. What do you feel is important moving forward?
Change needs time, but we're not here talking about change itself. We're talking specifically about meaningful change. A change that lasts, a change that is sustainable and flexible to all of the aspects that are ongoing to our school and to other school structures. Starting my profession as an instructional coach 3 years ago, I went through several workshops and courses that helped me communicate better with teachers, and I didn't think that would really affect my life outside of the school. I started noticing with my family and my family members and my friends friends that now I listen more. I really listen with curiosity. I help the other person in front of me to get the best out of them by asking them the right questions and really dig deep into what they really want to put out. And that really changed who I am, to the extent that sometimes I want to say an advice to my kid, but I hold myself and I say, no, you don't need to fall into the trap of the advice. Then I say, you are a mother. You can give an advice. This is your free space. So
Yeah.
yes, coaching has really affected the way I communicate with people inside the school and in my personal life.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I was just thinking to myself, happy coach, happy life. I mean, maybe there's a strategy in that as well. But it's also interesting from an educator because, you know, there was that traditional idea, you know, the sage on a stage, you know, that the educator, the teacher had to have all the answers and, you know, this idea of just passing on information. It's actually not. It's, you know, the whole cognitive load theory, the whole idea of the space and time to let a student make meaning out of what's going on as well. So.
And indeed, who has all the questions? No one. And we don't really want to look like Mr. Know Everything, Master of Nothing. That's not helpful.
Well, there's a couple of kindergartners that have a lot of questions, and they are, I mean, I don't know what happens. That's a wonderful inquiry. If you ever want to see inquiry in action, go to a kindergarten class.
Yeah.
They're the best inquirers in a school. So I don't know what happens that it kind of fades out of us as a species as we get older. But if we could bring back that kindergarten way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
Lamis, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you so much for this effective dialogue, as you mentioned.
Well, it's just probably a little synopsis of the conversations that we have on a regular basis here at ALS. And again, as I said, it's just about being a better version of ourselves all the time.
Yes.
So thank you for all you're doing for the school and for our learners.
Thank you,
All right.
Dr. Liam.
Wonderful.
That's my pleasure.